My project for the final exam is to develop a design thinking workshop that can be conducted synchronously but remotely, um, which is a bit of a problem sometimes because design thinking workshops are typically in person, highly collaborative, and involve breaking out of the standard ways of working using creative activities like drawing and playing games and sharing ideas all around with each other. And that can be difficult online because they're not as physical activities. So my approach to this problem was to focus on activities that incorporate interactive technologies like Miro and Flip and even Google Slides to get some of that engagement and creativity going, and to keep the group small but change them frequently to spark new connections. So someone might be sharing an idea that they got from the previous group, and someone else has an idea that was similar, and they're able to combine the two into something entirely new. And then I wanted to keep in mind the importance of encouraging creativity and breaking the bounds of the technologies that we're using, because that's the whole point of design thinking, is to come up with some new process. The format I chose was to conduct this over Zoom synchronously because I still think that in the moment collaboration is really vital to a design thinking workshop, broken down into groups of 3 or 4 that change for each activity. So like I said before, getting new people and new ideas from each section. And then it needs to cover the basics of design thinking and address a central problem. In this case, the central problem will be to design a web-based alternative to an art gallery that engages the viewers in new ways. And I wanted to focus on the ideation phase of design thinking to maximize the results, because if I were to go through the entire process of design thinking from empathy mapping to prototyping and testing and iterating, it would take a really long time to get through that whole process. And I really want to focus on breaking people out of their ideas and coming up with something new for this type of workshop. So the first activity is to help people break out of their typical ways of thinking. I would begin with a 5-minute introduction to design thinking, focusing on the ideation and testing phases. This would be in groups, so groups of 3 or 4, repurposing a shopping mall. So each group would get a different shopping mall image to see if that inspires different ideas for people. But they would try to list all possible potential uses for an abandoned shopping mall within 10 minutes. And they would do this collaboratively. And they would use sticky notes on a Miro board because the next activity uses Miro, and I want everyone to get used to using it and get on board in that 10 minutes so that we're not wasting time later on trying to get everyone into Miro. This is an example of that first activity with just a few ideas on it. So there's a picture of a shopping mall and then some Miro sticky notes with different ideas for potential uses, including a giant cat cafe and a permanent spirit Halloween. The second activity would tackle the actual problem. So as a reminder, that's how do we create a digital alternative to an art gallery experience? And to do this, we would play a digital version of Crazy Eights, which is a game where each person gets 1 minute to create one idea and then 1 minute to create the next ideas for a total of 8 ideas that are, each one is a little bit crazier than the last one. So they would get 8 minutes for individual work, then share in groups of 4 for 15 minutes, and then each group would share their favorite ideas or new ideas that they came up with during that 15 minutes with the whole group. And then we would finish with a reflection and roundup, 20-minute group discussion on next steps that address questions like, have we found a solution that we like? What resources do we need to implement this solution? Red teaming it, how could this go wrong? What are we missing? Who are we leaving out in this process? How might people respond to this solution? Is it something that people actually want, or did we solve for a problem that doesn't exist? And then we would set a date and any pre-work for the next meeting to flesh out the final solution if there was one found, or to come up with new solutions and do another design thinking workshop if an idea wasn't found. Thank you for watching.